Hello, everyone. For some reason, my cameras aren't working properly, so I'm going to have to use the one on my laptop. So I'm going to be looking like I'm looking off camera, but I'm not. So sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Who would like to do? Irina, would you please do the mandala for us?
Да, конечно, благодарю вас, дорогая Сумати. Вот прекрасная земля, наполненная ароматом благовоний, покрытая покрывалом из цветов. Великая гора, 4 континента, украшенные драгоценными камнями, солнцем и луной. В своем сознании я их вижу раем Будды и подношу их тебе. И с этим деянием пусть каждое живое существо ощутит чистый мир. Идам гуру ратна мандала кам нерета ими.
Yeah, let's have Oksana. Would you do the refuge for us?
Давайте. Я принимаю прибежище в воде Дharmi и Санги, пока не достигну просветления. Силой добра, которую я творю, даянием и прочим, пусть и достигну просветления ради каждого живого существа. Я принимаю прибежище в воде Дharmi и Санги, пока не достигну просветления. Силой добра, которую я творю, даянием и прочим, пусть мы достигнем просветления ради всех живых существ. Я принимаю прибежище в воде Дharmi и Санги, пока не достигну просветления. Силой добра, которую я творю, даянием и прочим, пусть все достигнут просветления ради каждого живого существа.
Okay, I think I may have just fixed my problem. So yeah, I did. Now I just have to get me in the frame. There we go. Much better view. Okay, you can hear me okay? Let me just check and see which. Microphone. Okay, you can still hear me fine? Okay, great. Let's do some rejoicing. Let's see. So many people to choose from. Let's go with Olga. What do you have to rejoice in today? Yes. Well, good. I'm glad you can have the patience to translate me. So thank you. And you're right. You have the translators have a unique opportunity to very powerfully spread the Dharma. So I'm in awe, always in awe of the translators. I have a brother-in-law who speaks and understands 6 languages. One of my students, Ale from ACI, her son is going to learn French, Spanish, and sign language. What a what a powerful tool he's going to have in the future, and learning it from the very beginning of his schooling. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Okay, Alexei, what do you have to rejoice in today?
Всем добрый вечер, дорогой вам Сумати. Я бы хотел поделиться тем, что недавно ездил в пансионат к своей подопечной бабушке, и она переезжала в другой пансионат из-за ремонта. Я помогал ей переехать морально, она меня попросила приехать, и выступал там в качестве грузчика, грузил вещи. Так случилось, что там еще много кто переезжал, а персонала не было тому, кто выгрузил это все. И я там выступал в качестве грузчика. Этому хочу порадовать. Спасибо.
Very good. Helping a relative like that is very important. I get frustrated because I can't drive anymore. Well, it's not that I can't. I decided not to drive because if I get in an accident, the other side's lawyer is going to immediately say I shouldn't have been driving because I have Parkinson's. And even though my neurologist says there's nothing wrong, you can drive, and I feel I can drive, I don't want to spend the money to defend myself against some lawyer that thinks I shouldn't have been driving. It just isn't worth it. So I keep my license current, and I drive occasionally to the convenience store just to make sure I still know how to drive. But it was easier to decide not to drive because I made the decision instead of my wife or a doctor. So it's amazing how much you take for granted that you can drive. Okay, let's go to Marina Yarlamov. What do you have to rejoice in? Marina Yarlamov?
Я не знаю, какая Марина, если...
Yeah.
Добрый вечер, дорогие. Сегодня я была вместе с моей мамой и моей сестрой на прогулке. Моя мама недавно пережила такую сложную болезнь. Она упала в обморок.
When my mama was very ill, she couldn't walk, and my sister also underwent operation, and they were very ill. And today it was very sunny, and we are together, three girls. We were working together, and it was such happiness, such joy to see my mother's face and my sister's face and all my family. We were together today, and with sun, with love, with happiness. So it was a very good day. Thank you.
You're welcome. What's your cat's name? Your cat.
Багира.
Багира.
Багира. Кошка Багира.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that name before. Oh, okay. Let's go to Svetlana number 1. You're frowning. Okay. What do you have to rejoice in today?
Oh, dear Sumati, I want to rejoice in students, especially in Irina Usmanova, who helped to translate the reading materials. There are like 143 pages, and she did it very fast, very precise, and that is magnificent. And she helped with the whole situation. I am rejoicing that my seeds allowing me to see such a wonderful person in my reality, and I dedicate that everyone can have any kind of help they need.
Excellent. Well, thank you. This Marina, is that right?
Irina Usmanova.
Irina. Where did Irina go? She was on the screen. Let me see if I can find her.
Это я. Это я.
There you are. There you are. Oh, thank you so much for doing that. It's very powerful. Very powerful. Okay, let's go to Daria number 2. Yes, you.
Добрый вечер всем. Всем
Good
привет.
evening,
У меня сегодня
everybody.
получилось
Hello,
так
everybody.
возможность провести время
Today
с
I
моей
had
мамой.
opportunity to spend
Я
time with my
присоединяюсь к
mother,
Марии,
and
если
I
правильно помню имя
also, as
девушки. Мы тоже
Marina,
гуляли. Правда, не 3
we
девушки,
walked
а 2.
with my mother also.
Вот это было очень
So
прекрасно. Я не
it
виделась
was
с
so
мамой примерно
wonderful.
месяца
I
3,
haven't seen
и
with
мне
my mother
удалось
for 3
с ней
months,
пообщаться, и
and I
удивительным
had
образом
opportunity
она
to speak with her,
говорила,
and
как будто бы
she
продолжение
told
того, что мы
with me
изучаем здесь, вот
as if
сегодня
the
тут занятия,
continuation of what we study
предыдущие 2.
here,
Она была как будто
as if
продолжением того, что вы говорите вы
she was talking the
Сумати
same as
Лама.
you,
Поэтому
as you
благодарю вас за
said.
все, что вы делаете,
Dear Lama
и
Sumati, I'm
всему
very
всем, кто
grateful
здесь
for
есть.
you for all you do for us. Thank you.
Wow, that's interesting that she was talking about the same thing. Did she sound like me? I was kidding. Well, that's very good. Those are some wonderful seats you have. Okay, let's go to um, Natalie. Natalie Zemkova. Natalie Zemkova. Yes.
Добрый вечер. Извините, я
Good
за
evening.
рулем стою на
I'm
перекуре.
sorry, I'm driving now my car, so
Oh.
I can't speak.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Excellent. Okay. Okay, let's go to, I'm not going to pronounce this right. Zigut? Zigut? Don't have any idea how to pronounce the last name. Purple sweater? Black glasses? Well, he disappeared off my
Добрый
screen.
вечер.
Oh, there you are.
Наверное, это я. Сигутя. Это
Siguda. Okay. What do you have to rejoice in?
Good evening, it's me, yes, Ziguta.
я бы хотела поделиться тем,
I would
что
like to
недавно,
share
после
that not
долгой,
so long time ago, after
перерыва,
a long
встретилась
pause,
поговорить
I met
со
to
своей
speak
старушкой,
with
которой
my
общаюсь
old
общалась каждую
lady
неделю. И она
with whom I
очень откровенно
communicated
поделилась
before each
своими
week. And she shared with
такими
me very
важными
sincerely
вопросами, о которых
of
она до этого
very important questions,
не говорила. У
and
нее
she didn't speak about it
умерла
before.
дочка, и она очень
Her
переживает,
daughter died,
поскольку
and
она
she was very
более
upset
80 лет, а
because
дочки у нее уже одна
she
за
was
другой
she is about
ушли.
80
И она
years
очень
old,
переживает
and
и
all her
очень
daughters
не
died,
хотела об этом
and she
говорить. И
was very upset. She
как раз
didn't want to speak about it, but
прошлые дни они
last week
поделились.
she
И
shared her
очень
emotions with
трогательно,
me,
и
and
для
it
меня
was very
очень важно
touchable for
от
me, and
нее.
for me it was very important, and for her. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being there and having her have the confidence to be able to speak with you. That's wonderful. That's very impressive. Okay, let's try. Well, I'm running out. Anastasia, are you there? Yes.
Да, я здесь, да. Добрый вечер, добрый день.
Good evening, I'm here, dear friends.
На самом деле у меня две радости. То, что
I have two
сегодня узнала, что
things to rejoice.
Алексей
Today I got to know that Alexei, she will go to Armenia together with us, and we will go together. I'm very happy for him that more people will come, and we were all together on this retreat. And the second rejoice is that today is day off, so I cleaned my house. I did it with happiness, with gratitude, and we have a very warm weather today, so I'm very happy about it.
Good, good. Okay, what do I have to rejoice in? Well, I had a major problem with my computer after class, and I was up till 2 a.m. with Hewlett Packard. It was a very difficult problem, but we got it solved. I have no idea why it happened. He doesn't have any idea why it happened, but I have 3 external monitors. I have my laptop and then 3 external monitors because I edit and do it. It's a long story. My wife doesn't think I need 3 external monitors, but I do. And the trouble was the mouse would not move between the monitors. And I knew how to set the monitors up, and that wasn't working. So apparently I had flipped a switch that you never think of. And he finally figured it out, and everything's fine now. So I didn't get mad. I didn't get frustrated. I just simply worked with him to solve the problem. There used to be, back in maybe 30 years ago, if you had a problem on a Friday night with your computer, you had to wait until Monday. There was no 24 hours, 7 days a week support. So if you get frustrated with computer support now, just think what it would have been like to have to wait an entire weekend. When I have a computer problem, I want to get it solved right away. I don't want to wait 72 hours. So all my effort to help people quickly ripened into having computer support when I need it. So that's pretty good. I really rejoice in the interpreters for my teachings, both the written and the verbal. I'm just, as I said earlier, I'm in awe of all of you, and I bless the fact that you're taking my classes and we're working so well together. So thank you again. Okay, let's get started on class. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, we did rejoicing. That's a good start. Review. Oh boy, everybody ready for review? What does the vicious dog represent? If you think you know the answer, go ahead and unmute and speak it.
Death.
Nobody? Go ahead.
It represents our death and the string that is that moment of death is postponed, and when our karma is wearing out, then this vicious dog will eat us, and death happens.
Right. Good. Death is certain. It's just a matter of time. What does the hourglass represent?
Это время нашей жизни, которое
This is the time of our life that is going to one direction from our birth to our death.
Right. Very nicely put. It's a one-way ticket, and we're on it. The minute we're born, we've started it. But I maintain pervasive suffering is, and that's what pervasive suffering is usually defined as. But as I said earlier, I maintain pervasive suffering could easily be we don't know what karma is going to ripen next. And it's frustrating for a lot of my students because they're working hard trying to find a partner. They're working hard trying to better their lives, and they don't see change. And it's frustrating to them. But be patient, keep working, keep a good, positive attitude, and keep the one thought in mind I mentioned yesterday. You don't know what it would have been like, your day would be like if you hadn't been practicing. So you really need to, when you get upset, just stop and think, it would have probably been much worse if I hadn't been practicing. So I need to practice harder, and think more good things will happen. It's like when I wake up, and I truly do this every morning. I wake up and I think to myself, I could not have Parkinson's today. And there have been days when my tremor is much less. Like today, I can hold this hand and it's not doing anything. And other days it's doing this. So I wake up and that happens and I go, hey, my Parkinson's is over. And then it all kicks back in. I haven't been able to smell or taste anything for the last 5 years. And recently, something mundane as hair shampoo, I could smell part of the scent. So I think that means my sense of smell is coming back. I sure hope so. Okay, let's get on to class. Okay, there are 3 resolutions we make at the end of this whole process. Knowing I must die, I resolve to start my practice. Knowing that only your karma goes on, and your bodhisattva vows. We want to learn about and do the deeds that will make the karma we want. It's my karma, but, which we talked about yesterday, that's when you find yourself saying, it's my karma, but in this case, it's not really my karma. No, it's your karma, so. Then, what's the other line? There's another. It's not my karma, so. Well, it'll come to me. Since I could die at any moment, I resolved to quit my worldly concerns and start my practice now. Now, this doesn't mean you quit your job and you shirk your responsibilities and you go find a retreat cabin and meditate and hope you get enlightened. If you don't have family responsibilities, you're independently wealthy, you can do that, great. But most of us aren't. And so you don't quit your job, you quit your worldly concerns, you quit trying to make money that it's not, instead of spending time on the stock market making as much money as you can, instead you say, where can I invest my money so that it's doing the most social good? We have investments from our savings when we worked, and we try to put those into social investments. They don't earn as much money as others, but our investment is in social, like recycling and environmental health and education instead of cars or computers. You make much more money on those stocks, but the interesting thing is you can lose more money on those stocks than the more conservative stocks. So that's what we're talking about, quitting your worldly concerns and start your practice now. Since I could, so get your priorities straight. Since nothing else can help when I die, I resolve to concentrate on my practice. This means your internal spiritual practices, your mind, your actions, compassion, memorizing things, doing your sadhana practices. Those are your internal practices. They help, but don't make you change your outer habits from selfish to otherish. So you need to put your morning, your cushion time, as we call it, into practice out in the real world. So I have back before I was using a walker and it makes it difficult to do, I would pick up garbage. I see a piece of garbage, I pick it up and dedicate it to having a world free of environmental pollution. And one day, when I was teaching in El Paso, we'd go down, we'd have our first class, and we traditionally would go see a movie, a Dharma movie afterwards. And we drove into a movie parking lot, and we were walking from the cars to the theater, and I noticed a bundle of white something back behind the left rear tire of a truck. Well, I pick up garbage. So I went to pick up the garbage, and it was a used diaper. Now, it was all folded up, so it was contained, but it was still a used diaper. So several of my students said, "You're not going to pick that up, are you?" I said, "Well, I've identified it as garbage. If I ignore it, then I'm going to see more garbage in my world." So I did pick it up. Now, here's an example of my potentially thinking that I was doing a good thing, and it turned out not to be. There are two examples. One, I tend to get the grocery carts that are out in the parking lot, and I'll get one or two and push them where the carts are collected. And one day, one of the people that are employed to do that asked me to not do that anymore. And I said, "Why? I'm just trying to help." And he said, "Because if my boss sees a client of the grocery store collecting the carts to get them back to the store, he's going to think I'm not doing my job. I'm trying to help, but it turns out I'm hindering." And the other example, and this one really struck me. We were on a cruise back before we stopped doing that, and I needed some water at my table. So I reached over and took the pitcher of water that was on the table and poured myself a glass of water. And the waiter came scurrying over and said, "Please, please, please don't do that. If the maitre d' sees you pouring your own water, I could be fired." So when you want to do a good thing, don't convince yourself not to because of things like that, but just think carefully the effect of what you're going to do. Getting someone fired trying to help them would not be a good thing. So, we want to help others. We need to develop our bodhicitta. What's the definition of bodhicitta? The plain vanilla definition, not Maitreya's. You want to develop the enlightened mind. Now, interspersed amongst the ACI coursework, they talk about bodhicitta being the wish to become enlightened, help all sentient beings. That is the Mahayana definition. That is the Lord Maitreya definition. But the straight definition of bodhicitta is you want to reach enlightenment. But I didn't say total enlightenment. So I was very confused early in my ACI career because it seemed like there were two types of enlightenment. So I did further work and research and finally came to understand that without going into too much detail, the self-made Buddhas and the hearers or listeners want to reach nirvana. They consider nirvana to be total enlightenment. The Mahayana practitioners don't. They want total enlightenment for the benefit of all beings, and you have to go beyond nirvana. So I just mention this because you'll come across things in the ACI coursework that seem contradictory, and they're not. You just have to delve deeper into it. Okay, so 2 ways to develop bodhicitta. The most common one Geshe talks about is the 7-step cause and effect. And the other one is exchanging self and others. So we're going to talk about both of these. 7-step cause and effect. So you do these 7 steps, and this is how you can develop bodhicitta. First, you think of all beings as your mother. You treat all beings, you think of all beings as equal. You don't hate, you don't love anyone more than the other. They're all equal. Then you recognize, you don't pretend, you recognize that all other beings have been your mother throughout your countless millions, billions of lives. All sentient beings have been your mother in some form or another. You need to really sincerely believe that. Now, let's say you don't get along with your mother of this life. It's talking about the concept of motherhood. It's not focusing on a particular individual. Remember the kindness of your mother. Now, we don't think about this very often. I didn't when I was growing up. My mom had 5 kids in 7 years. That is mind-boggling to me. How did she possibly corral 5 kids at that age and put up with it for enough years to where she could count on us to do things? I'm completely in awe. She couldn't eat certain foods she wanted. She couldn't drink alcohol if she wanted. She shouldn't have smoked if she wanted. She put up with a lot to carry me to term. Oh, sorry. So now the next step. So think of everyone as equal. You don't hate or love anyone more than another. You recognize, you don't pretend, you recognize all beings as your mother. You remember the kindness of your mother. Now you want to repay the kindness of your mother. So you help her do things, work around the house, help her grocery shopping, do the kind of things to repay what she did to make your life easy. Love people like you love your child. Love is wanting to give them happiness. You are obsessed with making them happy. So what's compassion? If love is making people happy, what's compassion? Are they the same thing? Anybody?
The wish to take suffering from these people.
Right. So you take away, you have to be able to see when what you're dealing with is suffering, compassion issues, and happiness issues. And I use this example all the time because I love it. My wife has a hot compress uses for her headaches, and so we call that it's a bean bag that we heat in the microwave. It sounds weird, but the beans hold the heat really nicely, and it's easier to work with than a hot water bottle. So to take away her suffering, I make her hot beans. To make her happy, we have dessert, often ice cream. If she has a bad headache, she doesn't want me to make her happy. She wants me to take away her suffering. So you have to be aware of what's needed at the moment. Then you have great compassion. The feeling I'll help everyone and myself, even if no one else helps. This is a feeling that comes just before and is a direct cause of bodhicitta, not being discouraged. I tried answering the phone. When I was at Diamond Mountain, living at Diamond Mountain, I was the operations manager. I would answer the phone with, "Hi, this is David. How can I help you today?" And any time I answered the phone. And then one day I answered the phone with, "Hi, this is David. What do you need me to do for you?" It was my sister, Catherine. She said, "Well, that's a cheerful way to greet someone on the phone." And I remember that because I usually was more cheerful. I was very fortunate. I don't know if many of you had this opportunity, but I loved what I did. 99% of the work I did in my life, I couldn't get up early enough or stay late enough. And that was true at Diamond Mountain. Call me at 12:30 in the night with a flat tire. I'll be out there to help. I just loved it. Okay, so not being discouraged. The state of a bodhisattva, wanting to be a Buddha to be able to help all other people. So that's a 7-step cause and effect method. Exchanging self with others. Now, Geshe doesn't talk about this in great detail, except in the death meditation. 3 levels of this practice. Basic, A, put yourself in other people's shoes. This mindset replaces the stuff we threw off the bridge. We must externalize the internal practices of recitation of mantras. We must put ourselves in the other person's shoe to see what they need and what's upsetting them. If we're going to die tonight and want the holiest practice, we must be out and about with people working to end their suffering. And the more demanding they are, the better chance to practice. So if someone irritates you, instead of responding with, "Oh, here's that idiot again," you say, "Well, here's a chance for me to practice patience. I can listen to him or her and not just be upset, but go, okay, someday in the future, I'm going to need to talk to somebody, and I want them to want to listen to me. So I'm going to set the karma right now. I'm going to listen carefully and set the karma for people to do that for me in the future. I call it listening the way you want to be heard. Stop and think about it. Most of us, if we're not thinking this way, we're in a conversation and I can't wait for you to get finished so I can say what I want to say. Versus listening the way you want to be heard. Listen intently, focus on what the other person's saying instead of looking around and yeah. Okay, you're done talking, now it's my turn. One thing I do in this situation, if I'm in the temple and I'm talking with a student and another student comes up and I'm not done talking with the first student, I'll turn and say to the second student, hi, I'll be with you in just a minute. Let me finish up here. Instead of ignoring that person and continue talking to the first student. That drives me nuts when I come up to try and talk to someone and they ignore me. That really irritates me. Okay, at the first level, you try to think, what would make this person the happiest right now? One way is to watch their eyes. They will often survey a room and their eyes will stop for a moment on what is most attractive or interesting. They walk into your kitchen and you see their eyes linger on a bowl of apples, so you offer one to them before they ask. Lobsang Jampa at Howell was always anticipating the needs of others, effortlessly making everyone welcome. An analogy could be like a useful computer program that was written by someone who really thought out what people wanted and how to keep the program from failing due to the weird things people do. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of the Biosphere 2 project. It was an ecology experiment that I was involved in. And one of my staff members wrote a program that followed the growth of six crops and what that would do with the atmosphere in an enclosed space. And he had it set so that the experiment would run down to a decimal point of 0.01 kilograms of plant matter. So I put in 0.001 and it crashed the program. He had to rewrite it. So you're testing something to see what will fail, and then you try and anticipate that coming and stop it from failing. At this level, you're trying to bring them physical happiness. So they could talk about their favorite subject, figure out their favorite cereal or tea, or perhaps they prefer coffee. I maintain the only reason Tibetans and Indians drink tea is because coffee wasn't available. But no one agrees with me. Get so good that you get it for them before they ask. karmically, it's a wonderful thing to do. And it's the most pleasant way to live your life. Basic B, mental and emotional needs of others. You watch people and see how they're going to act and try to figure out how to help. So, for instance, if you're now being more observant in the world because you're looking for ways to help people, you're in line at the grocery store and you look behind you and you see this lady looking at her watch, or I guess nowadays looking at her phone, and visibly agitated. And you say to yourself, how can I help her? What I do is I say to myself out loud, oh, I forgot that jar of mayonnaise. I need to go get it. Excuse me. And I back out. And now that person's taking my spot is one person closer to getting checked out because she has an appointment she's going to be late for. I don't ask her. I don't say, what's bothering you? Because sometimes that'll bother, you get a rude answer. None of your business. So instead I say, okay, I'll leave, go get the mayonnaise. Do you want me to save your place? No, you go ahead. I'm fine. So that's a little thing you can do. That can make a huge difference to someone who's going to be late for a doctor's appointment or something. Basic level C, their spiritual needs. Extend your concern to helping them achieve their spiritual goals by helping them with mantras or studying the ACI courses. So this is a way I try and help with the spiritual needs of my students and my needs. I teach, try and set by example. Then there's a medium level. So there's basic level and medium level. So now it gets to a little bit weird for some people. Now try to get inside their heads and feel what they're feeling. First, try to see how they might be experiencing you and make it pleasant for them. I have what some people would call a strange sense of humor. I like to play with words and make puns. Some say it's a curse. I prefer to think of it as a gift. Now, if I notice you rolling your eyes and fidgeting when I made a pun, I need to reflect that you just may think I'm weird or warped. So I need to pull back and not be so clever. Then seeing how you see me. So, I tell my Parkinson's, I like my Parkinson's jokes. I just like them. It's a great way to approach Parkinson's, but they don't translate easily. So what I really need to do is sit down with some of my Ukrainian or Russian students and see how I need to. Actually, that's a good homework question. How would you, and I'll take any advice. Don't worry about whether I like it or not. Well, besides saying don't tell the jokes. You can't tell me that. But if you could take the jokes, my 4 Parkinson's jokes, and interpret them, translate them to be funny in Russian and Ukrainian, I'd appreciate that. So seriously, you have this ready for me for what class is. We may not have class on Sunday, but that's your homework. Please make the jokes funny. And the other one, it's my karma, not my karma, but it's my karma so. As I said before, in English, it's my karma so could be S-O or S-O-W. which is to sow seed. So it's my karma, but now it's my karma. I'm sowing seeds. So we need to make that description work in Russian or Ukrainian too. That can be in Vietnamese, it can be in whatever language is your native tongue. I'll take help in whatever form I can get it. You try to think like them, but it's still you and me as separate beings. The deepest level. Highest form is where you try to remove altogether the distinction between me and you. You expand one's sense of self to include first one more person, then eventually 2, 3, etc. You find that when you try and make someone else happy, you're making yourself happy. We need to see that we're all in the same plight or same boat, that we can expand our concern for ourselves to others because they're suffering just as I am. We serve the physical easiest, the mental harder, and then we eliminate the physical and mental boundaries and find yourself thinking, now I have 2 heads and 4 arms and 2 mouths to feed. That's a little weird because you're extending yourself to include their wants and needs. I don't think of it as having 2 heads. That's kind of weird. How does the death meditation get us there? What's the connection? What's the point? We have enlightened our lives, and we're trying to do that for others. We've convinced ourselves that death is certain, the time of death is uncertain. None of our conventional concerns help us. They're distractions. Now we extend this feeling to everyone. Who cares if someone yelled at you? We're all going to die, maybe in the next 5 minutes. So why waste my time getting angry? Why get the bad karma for getting angry? Why annoy someone else with my joke if it makes them angry? Master Shantideva teaches us to stop thinking that our concept of self stops at our skin. That is arbitrary. The opponent in his debate says that if Andreas pricks his skin, I don't feel it, so am I wrong? It does stop at my skin? Master Shantideva says yes, but no. We can decide that my level of acceptable pain extends to others. We do this all the time with loved ones, mothers with children, husbands and wives. If I get upset, you're doing it now even though you don't know it. I care about my car, my tools, my computer. If someone misuses my tools, I'm extending myself without really realizing it. Master Shantideva says that not doing this is a fatal mistake because it kills us, generating the karma for our future death, this lack of exchanging self for others. You can make this exchange a habit, then your life will change, but you need to practice at a pace that will be comfortable and work for you. You will start serving others because you're serving yourself as well. That's the only permissible self-cherishing. We move then and cease. Anyone's suffering is unacceptable. The cause for suffering unacceptable. Try to stop the suffering. Sound familiar? If I see that someone is jealous, I need to react as if it's in my mind, getting to the point where it's the same, then acting to stop our jealousy versus their jealousy. understand that what you want to do is see that we all have the same state of mind. We all want to be happy. Our distinction between self and others is a karmic projection based on past deeds. It's very clear. I'm not saying we become one with a mind stream. Instead, we're saying that other beings are extensions of myself, and it's up to me to get the karma to not see suffering by stopping their suffering. At some point, we'll all be the same in that we're no longer suffering, but we'll be still be separate entities, separate mind streams. So death meditation just got a little bit harder because now we see that we can't just come home and sit and fix it for ourselves. We need to go to work and serve others as if they were me. So as we described earlier, there is a difference between love and compassion. Love is wanting to make others happy. Compassion is wanting to remove the suffering of others. And remember, they're not the same thing. Just as we talk about divesting stuff, we're talking about divesting the attitude of me and mine versus others, giving up that very secure boundary of me and mine and extending me and mine to others. Okay, we're going to do the third meditation. Let's take a break. Yeah, let's take a 15-minute break. I'll make it 18 minutes. Come back at 9:15 my time. What's that? 7:15 your time. Okay, we'll see you then. I'm going to go get something to drink. Okay, please get comfortable. And we're going to do our meditation. We're going to do something called the 7-limb prayer, which is a short way of getting your preliminaries done. So please close your eyes if that's how you meditate. Check your posture, shoulders level, eyes partially closed, tongue relaxed, mouth relaxed, back straight. With my body, speech, and mind, humbly I prostrate. I make offerings both set out and imagined. I confess my wrong deeds from all time. And rejoice in the virtues of all. Please stay until samsara ceases and turn the wheel of Dharma for us. I dedicate all virtues to the great enlightenment. So we're picking up where we left off in the morgue. You turn back into the corridor and you see a white door. You open the door and step into a turret-shaped room, like in a castle. It has slits in it and it is round. Light shines through the slits to the very center of the room, sort of like a spotlight. To your left, leaning against the wall, is a staff slightly taller than you. You reach out for it with your left hand. It is important that it's your left hand. Take the staff and it fits perfectly, just like it was made for you and you alone. As you take it, you say to yourself, if it's sure that I'm going to die, I decide now to start my spiritual practice. Take one step forward, starting with your left foot, towards the sunlight in the center of the room, but not in it yet. As you do, you pound the staff on the ground and hear the sharp noise that it makes. This represents your decision. If I don't know when I'm about to die, I must start my spiritual practice now, and I must quit my worldly way of thinking. Take another step forward, starting with your left foot toward the sunlight. Raise the staff high over your head. This represents your decision. If nothing but my spiritual life can help me, then I devote myself to my spiritual practice. There is no point in doing anything less, and I strive for the highest practice. You look to the right and see a door of royal blue color, shimmering. You lower your staff and point to it. This is the highest spiritual practice. On the door are the words, exchanging self for others. Your resolution to practice only the highest practice gives you the desire to open the door. You open the door again to the left, take a step into a room. You find yourself in a small restaurant. You walk up to the maitre d', who recognizes you and immediately takes you into one of the several small rooms adjoining the main room. There's a person reading a book in a reading chair against the far wall. When they see you enter the room, they get up and you both simultaneously go to the dining table that's in the middle of the room. This beautiful, ornate teak table has a blue tablecloth and is set for two. Next to it is a large, ornate serving cart with chafing dishes keeping warm several different meals, which is a tradition in this restaurant. There is no menu. Next to the cart is another cart with several cold drinks, and next to that is the dessert cart. After you both take your napkins and lay them on your laps, as the other person turns to look at the serving tray of the main course, you focus your attention on their eyes to ascertain which of the main courses they're looking at with the greatest intention. You then take that plate of quinoa and lentils mixed with roasted green chilies and sliced olives, seasoned with caramelized onions and curry sauce. that they're looking at, and you place that in front of them. This is the first level of serving others. You look again at their eyes and see which drink they linger on, and you hand them a glass of water with no ice, lemon and no ice. This represents serving their emotional needs. To complete their meal, they look at the dessert selection, and again you watch and select a piece of chocolate swirl cheesecake that they focus their attention on. This represents the first level of bodhicitta. You excuse yourself and get up and go to the next room, where there is again another table. This time it is an oak table with a yellow tablecloth, again set for two. As you enter the room, the same person is again sitting at the reading chair and gets up and follows you to the table. Another set of serving carts are there with the same choices for the meal. This time you ask the person to sit in your spot and you sit in theirs. As they think about the dinner, beverage, and dessert, you are them, and you get it for them because you're thinking it know in advance what would make them happy because of your attention to detail in the first room. You are trying to think like they do, acting out of awareness for others' needs. The distinction between you and them is still there, but it's fading as you try hard to anticipate their needs as much as you concern yourself about your own needs. This is fading into your habit of thinking of yourself first. It is not as if you are physically becoming them and losing your identity. You both pick up your forks and mirroring each other's movements perfectly, you magically take the same piece of cake. That both of you eat the same piece of cake at the same time represents that it's incomplete to make efforts for our own happiness when billions of equally wanting people when there are billions of other people who want to be free from suffering as well. The practice of exchanging self for others is a difficult concept to truly grasp, but it is critically important that you are not losing your identity, but rather expanding your own sense of identity to include others. You get up and walk to a silver door. This is the end of the death meditation as it joins the long room meditation on the path to enlightenment. So now return to your Lama before you. Ask them to come into your heart and stay with you. They are thrilled to be asked and rise up, turning to face the same way you are. Shrink down, come to the top of your head, then shrink to the size of a pea and descend through a tube of blue light to your heart. You can visualize a tiny room in your heart from the outside, but when you get inside, it's a big, normal room with a full lotus flower that has a center cushion made of sunlight. And they sit and stay with you for the rest of the day. So let's leave this meditation with this pure, powerful thought and conviction. I want to be happy and free from suffering. Everybody wants to be happy and free from suffering. I now know what prevents me and others from being totally happy. So I will try as hard as I can to become a totally enlightened being so I can really be of service to other people. I will try to mold myself into a happy person, the almost ultimately happy person, so I can have this influence on others and lead them to the same state of enlightenment. I will stop my own aging, illness, death, and rebirth. I will reach my ultimate happiness, but only so that I can help others reach theirs. So let's leave with this last thought in your mind for now. I will free all those who have yet to be freed. I will save all those who have yet to be saved. I will comfort all those who have no comfort, and I will deliver all beings beyond grief. Dedicate the goodness of these classes to realizing the most uncommon thought of concluding that breaking down the border between yourself and others is the key to stopping your own and everybody else's death. Okay, you can open your eyes. Now, the next class is going to be in what, 2 hours? 4 hours. And it's going to be the entire meditation with a little bit of teaching beforehand. I will email, Svetlana, have I emailed you the meditations? Okay.
Yes.
I made some changes to today's lecture, so I will send you that. And you can, the one I send you for today's class is the one I want you to send to the other students. So we'll see you all in approximately 4 hours. Noon my time. Yeah, 10 p.m. yours. Okay. Goodbye. See you in a bit.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much,
much.
dear Lama Sumati. Please stay
Спасибо
forever.
большое.
Well, that's
Благодарю вас.
my,
Thank you very
that's
much.
my intent.
Lama Sumati.
Don't forget, you have to write those jokes that are funny in Russian and Ukrainian. Okay, we'll see you in a bit.